So, hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra Kaye, and I'm sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Sadiq, also known as the Black Yule Brenner. And it has been a very long time, it seems like. It's been over a month, I would say, since we have done this because he was traveling, I was traveling. So, it was a lot going on. And so, here we are. If you guys missed us,
we have lives too.
Yeah, we have lives too, but our little podcast that we do as well. So we're back in full effect. So anyway, the purpose of the Demetra Kaye Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we are great people, but we can always try to do better. Of course, we are not live. This is recorded. We'll be back live later on this evening at 5 p.m. Central Time. And so today we're going to cover a whole host of topics. This one that we're going to do first is of a sister that was on Frontier Airline, and it kind of got crunk and disorderly. I won't show you the whole video. I'll skim through it as it is 5 minutes long, but I think you'll get the gist. We're also going to talk about a video of an older, kind of fine brother, I should say, giving the brothers in their 50s some advice. Okay. And then I'm going to talk... we're going to talk about something that I posted, I saw on Facebook, and I want to get Donovan's opinion, and surely I will render mine as well. So, Donovan, what's going on?
All right, you guys, welcome back. Welcome back to the Demetra Kaye podcast. A lot of stuff is going on. I want to start with this, especially because I don't want anybody to forget. Special announcement. Join us for an unforgettable Ethiopia adventure in 2025. Limited spots are available, and don't miss this trip of a lifetime, March 31st through April 9th, 2025. Get ready to embark on the journey of a lifetime. We are excited to invite you to join us for an exclusive trip to the breathtaking landscapes and rich cultural heritage of Ethiopia in 2025. We've partnered with Maximum Impact Travel and the renowned Mr. J. Cameron to bring you an extraordinary experience that will leave you with unforgettable memories. Why you should miss this trip: immerse yourself in history and culture, explore the ancient rock-hewn churches of I can't even say that word, the vibrant markets of Addis Ababa, and so much more. Enjoy top-tier accommodations at the Radisson Blue Holly Resorts, the Gar Hills Resort, and the Maribel Hotel. And it is affordable adventure starting at just $3,280 with a minimum deposit of $199 to secure your spot, with only 25 slots available. With exclusive adventure, fill up quickly. Secure your spot now. And that is through the African Diaspora News channel. How did I know that? Because I'm a member of that channel. If you're not a member, you can do it on YouTube. Become a member and subscribe, or you can download the African Diaspora News Channel app. I wanted to put that out there because people, you have a year to save up, do what you want to do, however you do it. Now, how do you save up for this trip? I'll tell you how you do it. You take $200 a month, and you squirrel that away. You will have enough to go on this trip.
Absolutely. And I think that I'm going to go this year. That's what I have committed to, because I watch all of the trips go by. So that is my goal, is to go. So anyway, thank you, Donovan. And of course, we have ways to donate and help this channel. There's a crawler at the bottom of the screen here. We have Cash App, PayPal, and Venmo if you want to help the channel. Also, if you can, please like and subscribe to this channel. And for everybody who donates and subscribes and likes and all that, I love you and I appreciate you dearly. Okay, so let's get to it. All right, so I saw this morning of a sister. She says she's a grandmother, okay? She was on Frontier Airline, and I guess she made a little, okay, I don't know if it was a joke. Maybe she was serious. But originally, when you sit in the exit aisle, what they'll say is they'll give you a whole little spiel of the ins and outs of sitting in the exit row, not the aisle, the exit row is what I meant. The exit row. Are you going to save people? Are you able to, to perform the exit row duties? And they'll have you verbally say yes, right? Each and every one will say yes. Well, I guess when this sister was asked, she says, now, from what they said, I'm saving myself. And so this is what transpired from that point. Now, I'll probably skip through unless, y'all find it to be entertaining. It's about 5 minutes long. So I'll try my best to skip through so you guys can get the gist. But here we go.
We already agreed.
Yeah, she talking to me. What is the problem? Because she don't want to tell us her name. Okay, well, you don't have to tell me to cut my music down so I can listen to it. Tell me that. A problem? What's the problem? We ain't got no problem with that. We understand we got to help people get off the plane and help Betty White if something happens. What's the problem? We agree. You wasting your breath. They gonna take this plane off the ground. That's my damn face. Did you ask her to agree? You ain't doing your job. Yeah. No nonsense going on. You better get out of my face is what you need to do, Betty. Here, you put this in. You ain't got to worry about two damn things. One black girl in here. Yeah. Girl. Relate? No. That lady came and asked us, we got witnesses, we all agreed. Didn't nobody tell?
Bring the flight attendant over
Yeah,
here.
because we all agreed, and everybody can witness that. And my grandson is getting off out of school, and his mama took a flight to Mexico, and I'm not getting off.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the couple passengers that we're asking to please be removed.
No, that is, no, my grandson is 4 years old, and he's getting out of school.
It really was.
No, we all agree.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be underway here shortly. We've got to take care of this issue here. Law enforcement will be arriving.
Really, your flight attendant
disagree with her.
Accident, so
She is
sorry
lying.
to the but please.
I'm going to ask you one more time, nice to get off the clock. We're going to be board the plane, and that police will come and escort you on.
Well, I'm calling my attorney because we didn't do anything wrong. The lady asked us to agree, and we did. We got a whole staff.
Ma'am, I
we got a
understand that,
whole crew.
but we'll talk about it outside.
What are we getting divorced? My grandson is in Texas getting out of school.
That's fine, ma'am.
At 3 o'clock.
I understand everything, but we'll have to step outside the air traffic to talk about it.
Sir, no, that's not legal. I'm getting my attorney on the phone. I'm not.
You're inconveniencing every other
I'm not getting off my grandson is in Houston getting out of school at 3 o'clock.
You should have been applying the rules.
We applied to the rules.
Get off, get your bags, let's go.
We applied. I applied that. I am not running my ruling. Everybody, did I disagree to her? Everybody heard me. We all agree. But I mean, I got a grandson that's getting out of school at 4 o'clock. But my grandson.
You have to book another flight. You're not getting that regardless, and neither are we if you don't get off. So it's
That's why we're canceling. I'll tell you. And you're not going to get there anyhow. You know,
I am not doing anything.
I'm asking you.
What crimes did I commit?
getting off the plane anyway, so we're either all getting off with you or you're getting off by yourself.
But I agree. Are you arresting me?
They're not arresting me.
What crime did I commit? Don't touch me.
You heard what I'm talking about? We'd have paid enough to see that. Everybody get off.
In handcuffs?
They got Rosa Parks in handcuffs?
They do.
Rosa, look at him. He's gonna fuck the whole flight up. Look at him. Keep a dumb ass off the flight. She got everybody off the flight because of her dumb ass. Whole game. Rosa Parks got a little bit of bread. She can fly this year. Yeah. That's a long way from the bus. Yeah, look at him.
Yeah, we still in show, baby.
And
her shirt say God on it. She cut up so bad. She made it crazy, bro. What's up? They got their head covered.
I ain't gonna lie, she won't go for a long time.
She's a black girl.
What's up?
Donovan, before I'm gonna give it to you, but I got some questions for you. Okay. Now I know that you are a pilot and you have a plethora of experience in managing airports and things like that. What happened? So when they deplane the whole plane in incidents like that, why do they do that? Why do they have to go through that process when somebody's acting like that?
Okay, number one, the reason why when a person refuses to exit the plane on their own, then that sets a situation where it's going to be a confrontation, physical. So they want to get people off so nobody gets hurt. And because you're in closed spaces, whatever the deal is, you got to remember the plane is made of aluminum. So if that person happens to puncture, you know, if something goes on to where the police come in there is a big thing, you could really disrupt the plane, because that's why you have pressurization. So those walls are very, very thin. So what number one, they don't want a lawsuit by hurting other passengers in the dude. So, you know, the airlines, number one thing is they're going to get those other passengers off there before they do anything. Then they're going to deal with the chick at hand, and hopefully the plane won't be damaged. And if their window hasn't closed, they're going to reboard the passengers and they take off. Of course, it's going to be late and set everything back. But that's the main reason. They don't want a liability and other passengers getting hurt.
All right. So you saw what you saw. What's your opinion, brother?
Why? What? Damn. Why is it? It is all, see, this is why people look at Black women in a certain way. Now, I'm going to throw this out here, seriously, because that kind of hurts my heart. Because, you know, other groups do it, don't get me wrong, but prevalently, here's the problem. When it comes to our people, we are so ignorant when it comes to the law, okay? Number one, here's the one thing that people do not realize, especially our people. It is a federal crime to interfere with and not follow the instructions of the flight crew members. It's a federal crime. If that flight attendant tells you to move, you are to move. It's for the safety and the paramount of the thing. So for her to sit there and argue with this lady, you're not going to win. You're not going to win. Just, you know, follow the order. There's, you know, these people are professionals. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. Number two, what the hell does her grandson have to do with the problem at hand? Oh, my grandson. Nobody gives a damn about your grandson, lady. Nobody gives a damn. And then another reason for moving the passengers out, do you see how all the other passengers were getting upset? Because this lady is going to make them late. They might have connections and all kinds of other stuff like that, which is going to incur them having charges. So that's another reason why you remove the passengers, so that it doesn't incite the other passengers getting upset as well. So, but the thing is, it's just so sad because, and I'm just going to add this, and I'm not saying it has to be this way or whatever. If this woman was traveling with a man or a husband, that probably wouldn't have happened. You know what I'm saying? In regards to, yo, man, control your woman with, hey, honey, we're going to move over here, whatever the deal is. This is what happens because, you know, women are more emotional than men and all that other stuff. And Demetra, you and I even had our incidences on the airlines. But the good thing is we were at our destination before you started getting buck wild. So, but the thing is, people have to understand, especially when it comes to aircraft, it's a serious issue. The plane is very, very, there's a lot of time constraints with that. Connections and things like that. Everything's on a clock. So when this lady's holding it, you know, it just didn't make any sense because you're not going to win. It is a federal law. You are to follow the instructions of the flight crew members. So what was her deal by even challenging it? You know, so that's pretty much my 2 cents. But why is it always us doing that? And as you saw in the video, what was the end result? She ended up in handcuffs. Just like that. Just like that.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. And like you said a minute ago, it's not just us, but, you know, that particular lady is really demonstrative. So of course, I just want to recap. Of course, y'all saw there, and I should give credit to Traveling with Tia. I think that's her name. It was on the video. Sounds like she was actually on that plane. Frontier is what it sounds like. They were going from North Carolina to Texas, of all places. All right. So as y'all saw, she's sitting there. You better go on and get this plane off the ground. You better get out my face, Betty. And then she's snacking and cracking on whatever she was eating. And her and her, I don't know if those are her children or whoever they were. They, kikiing and ha-haing and, making a mockery out of the whole traveling process there. So I counted 6 people, including the pilot, that had to talk to her. And I'm not even talking about the passengers. I'm talking about all the people with, some sense of authority was trying to talk to her. First, it was the original airline attendant, because it sounds like the lady originally told her, I'm only helping myself. So from what I understand, I could be wrong, is because that particular part of the plane is so vital to life if people need to get off. I would imagine even if you joking, not to take you at your word, sister, I'm sure she was like, oh, I was just playing. But the airline attendant's like, I can't take that gamble with you because you really might be serious. Time I'm going to help myself if something go down. So from that point, the airline attendant was like, you got to get up, y'all. Then when she saw more and more people was, hey, you got to get up. Then she wanted to bring her grandson, who sounds like he was in school. As she said, his mother jumped on the plane to Mexico. Okay, she off in the damn air somewhere. And his silly grandmama is trying to get off the ground to go get him. But she acting, funky, fresh, and snooty with the people who have this. See, when I travel, I don't get fresh and smart with nobody in there because I want to get where I got to go. Plus, I'm not trying to find out who the air marshal is that day. I'm not trying to get on a no-fly list. And you know what I'm saying? I mind my business. But see, she was more certain, or she thought she was going to be more certain than the authority figures, even to the point of, I'm going to call my attorney. What was your attorney going to say? Hey, put me on speaker. Leave Gloria Dean alone. Gloria must get to Texas, okay? I know she acting like a donkey, but she got to get, what was he going to do? Or she, you know what I'm saying? So she didn't care about her grandson, but she wanted the whole plane. So, of course, we saw all the passengers, hey, you got to get up. We got to get to where we got to go. We all going to have to get off this plane. And she, and it's like, how embarrassing. See, the one thing I noticed, too, is you wasn't laughing no more. When you saw the po-po show up, oh, it wasn't funny. What happened to little seeds or whatever you was eating? Couldn't even get out my face. What happened to all of that? Oh, so you can see now you found out that fat meat is greasy. It ain't fun and games no more, right? But that speaks to her mentality and a lot of people's mentality, I should say. Who gonna check me, boo? See, all that might fly at the grocery store, Walmart, where you used to acting a fool, or where at your church, the motherboard, wherever that might fly there. But when people they trying to get that plane off the ground a mile high, they don't have time to be having people acting a fool, cutting up, thinking, first of all, sister girl, I should say Miss Sister Girl, because you a grandma, your own Frontier, okay? If I wanted to right now, I could fly to Ontario, California from Texas for $91 round trip, okay? So you ain't
but you got the overnight layover in Denver.
Nah, this is straight flight. They changed the rules. But my point is, you wasn't in first class on Emirates airline going someday. You know what I'm saying? So you did all of that. Then you got the purple walk grandma, because I'm going to call you grandma because that's the title you went with. More importantly, grandma, you got perp walk down the stairs. You didn't even get to come through you went down the stairs. And then you hardly look like you come down the stairs in handcuffs. And now your grandson will forever have that story of you not showing up to pick him up from school. I don't know if because I'm imagining if grandma had to come all the way from North Carolina to get a grandson, there was nobody else to pick him up. So this CPS show up because you didn't show up. Like, what happened to your grandson? But you did not give a rat's ass about your grandson because you wanted to be right, and you was checking Betty, is what she said her name, Betty, and everybody else on the plane. You was getting them together until you didn't get them together.
Yeah, it's sad. And, you know, and again, this attitude is very prevalent in our community with our women. And this is another thing that really turns off a lot of men. It's like, you look at this situation, this is a grandmother. If she has that attitude, what kind of attitude is she espousing to her grandchildren and her legacy and aunts and nephews and nieces? Do you see what I'm saying? And here's another thing, because like I said, I'm very, very, very skilled in the aeronautical world. Not only does she hold up the flight where people might miss their connections, because there's only so many gates at so many destinations, you might arrive late and have to sit on that tarmac for 45 minutes until that other plane that came in on time, that's trying to get out on time because you're already late. It's going to mess up everything. That's how technical it is. And I'm going to say this to people that are traveling. Again, it is a federal law. You are to follow those commands or specific reasons. Everything is time crunched in aviation, and 5 minutes can make a difference. So, you know, whenever people talk about like the terrible airlines, where do you think they're getting that from? They're getting it from scheduled takeoffs and arrivals, right? So a certain airline is constantly late, right? That makes them like at the bottom of the thing because, oh, they never get on time. They're always late because of people like this. They're not following directions. They're not at the boarding gate when they're supposed to be. Everything is about time. But I'm going to tell you this. You act up in a plane and you're not where you're supposed to be, you're going to lose every time. You're going to lose every time. It doesn't matter what your grandbaby is. They don't care who you are, because there's over 200 or maybe 180 people on that plane that have destinations to get to. And those connections. And guess what? If it ain't the airline's fault, there's no refunds. There's no hotels. I've been in situations where I've seen people come from a destination because they were late. The plane was late. And all the hotels are booked. And people are like, well, you know, y'all need to give us a hotel. Why should we give you a hotel for what? What did we do? It isn't weather related. It's something that's on us. You know, the plane was late, blah, 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 blah. You know, it's just one of those things. And it would behoove people to follow the instructions of the flight crew members. When the pilot's got to come and talk to you, oh, it's escalated. You could damn sure put it like this. When the pilot comes talk to you, at that point, he's the overall commander. Either comply with what he's telling you, or you know you're getting off that plane. It's as simple as that. He is the final authority, and what he says goes. But like I said, why does it have to escalate to that level? Just follow what the flight attendant is saying, have your little peanuts, and go about your way.
Yeah, with a pilot, when he got out of the cockpit, which I understand a lot of times once it's closed, they're not supposed to come out. But he had already made the announcement, okay, y'all, it's going to be a minute. We trying to get some people off the plane, right? So I guess he probably thought, okay, open this sucker up so I could go see if I could get her up off of here. Because like you said, that might have been a connecting flight for him, and he has to get back off the ground. And so there's a lot of stuff going on. But I want to point out that there was some sensible sisters on that flight, because we don't want to make her the example for sisters, because there was a lot of sisters like, hey, you acting up, you got to go, because the rest of us is trying to go do what we got to do, right? So, but yeah, it's, to me, more importantly, her, because she said she's a grandma, she looks, older than me, I would imagine.
She's probably younger, but go ahead.
You know what? I'm imagining maybe those are her family members. I don't know. But what a horrible example. Because at that point, I didn't see you with grandpa. Maybe grandpa was at home. I just would venture to think that a woman that behaves like that, she either has a man that's very, okay, you can't tell glowed or nothing. She glowed on, or she ain't got no man, okay? But nevertheless, I would imagine she is the matriarch of her family, okay? As I always say about matriarchs of the family, they ought to be uniters and not dividers, right? They should not be causing confusion and contention. So she's setting a horrible example for them. And then, like somebody said, she had the word God on her shirt. So I'm imagining she probably sitting up in somebody's first AME, Baptist church somewhere, and in the Bible it says obedience is better than sacrifice. And I can say I don't go to church, but I hold that scripture, and don't ask me where it comes from. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but obedience is better than sacrifice, because when you're disobedient, you will sacrifice something. Now, also in the Bible, and I don't even know why I'm going here, maybe because I feel like somebody's going to be listening to this and this is where it's going to connect. It says, in the land of Caesar, follow the laws of Caesar. Okay, the government is Caesar, airline is Caesar, and what that's basically saying is your authority. So when you're on that plane, you have to submit to an authority figure, which is the airline attendants, the pilots, and whoever else is connected to that plane. And so her being that grandmama, the matriarch of the family, setting a horrible example because they was all with her, and they probably knew they couldn't tell grandma or whoever she was to them none, because she gonna do what she want to do. So in that moment, everybody saw you sacrifice. You sacrificed your grandson, you sacrificed the people that were with you, and you sacrificed whatever dignity you had left, because now people aren't talking about you, and she might be a good woman somewhere, but nobody will ever know that, because she'll forever be known as the woman who was hard-headed, clowning, and acting. See, that's the other thing I can't stand either, is a silly woman listen, I understand being joking, but silly, there's a time and a place. You getting your behind on that plane, playing with them. I don't play on the plane. You know what I mean? But so now people know you as that. They don't know you as the matriarch, as the president of the motherboard at church, or somebody who's stuck at school's grandmama. They know you as the woman getting perp walked because you're hard-headed, and instead of you being obedient, you sacrifice everything that's connected to you. That's horrible.
And, and I guess, I don't know if that was her or origin flight or whatever, but just think, you're trying to go somewhere, and now in the hometown, if that was her hometown, you're locked up and have to post bail to get out of that situation. Now, remember, this is if it's local jurisdiction, because sometimes airports have local jurisdiction. Now you've got to go back and address that issue, especially if you're traveling, you guys. See, here's a lot of ladies don't think about. Let's say you're in your connecting flight and you're in another city, and then that happens. You got to go back to that jurisdiction to deal with the court. So now you got to pay more money to get there. And God forbid, if the airline bans you, you got to get on another airline, probably pay more money just to get there, just to plead guilty. You're going to plead guilty no matter what. And that's it. Because again, the statute, it says, federal law says you must abide by. You're guilty. I was in there and all these people said, where are these people? They're at their destinations. Now you're in court trying to talk about you're innocent when they took you off a plane. I mean, think about it, Demetra. As dangerous as air travel is, I'm sitting in the court and you're a judge, and I tell you as a prosecuting attorney, well, this person endangered the airplane. Everybody, it's already cooked in your mind. You already got a preconceived notion of how much safety is involved and to be organized and to be instructed to be on an airplane, because it's so dangerous. This woman's going to lose. So I would highly recommend people that are not used to flying, get on the Greyhound. If you want to act up like that, get on the Greyhound and do what you got to do. Because in the air game, you're not going to win that, because you're going to have all those people upset. Nobody's going to step up for her when they miss their connecting flight and all that other stuff. Everybody wants to get to their destination. And I'm going to tell a quick story real quick. Even myself, knowing all the experience I had, I was in LAX and we were on our way to Africa. We're still in LAX. I'm taking pictures and videoing inside the airplane of our adventures. And the flight attendant told me I can't take pictures, whatever. But of course, I know the rules and the law, right? And I said, because I knew we weren't in the air yet, whatever. But that's different. Not saying I was right. I'm not saying I was right. But at the end of the day, I knew when to comply. I complied. And we went on our merry way. And it's just as simple as that. You're not going to win that battle. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, do you want to take flight or do you want to be right? You know what I'm saying? And I think people are like you, certain things, I'm just saying, certain things you're not going to win. But some people are so, they just going to die on that hill. I'm going to be right. I'm not budging. And then what you're going to be is on the ground with your luggage, and you're going to be watching everybody else take off because you're acting like a whole fool trying to be in making the skies unfriendly, you know? So in closing that, listen, I can't tell you what to do. Y'all know I fly Spirit, okay? I do. I fly Spirit, and I always tell y'all, I see some foolery, but I mind my business. I take my book, I take my ear pods and my phone, and I mind my business, okay? Because I'm trying to get to where I gotta go. So with that being said, that woman, I don't even say poor woman, it's those poor passengers and her grandson and her daughter who's in Mexico, who probably knew her mama was a donkey, which I don't know why she trusted her silly mama to even be responsible for her son. But if she sees this, I would say, Miss Ma'am, I don't know if you're banned from the Friendly Skies or just Frontier or whatever, but if you happen to get a chance, even if you're gonna go across country on a donkey, ma'am, just do what you gotta do. But if they tell you to strap up, do that, ma'am. Okay, don't be up in there, trying to be the boss of the skies. You gonna get everybody in. You gonna check me, boo, and you might, like I said, you might be the authority figure at your local church or your women's auxiliary club, whatever it is you're doing. But you ain't that everywhere, okay, sister, president, vice president of the women's knitting club or the cha-cha, whatever it is, okay, you that then. You not that everywhere. And I'm gonna say that to anybody else. Just take that as an example, okay? You be better, getting sassy with the po-po on the ground than the air attendant in the sky or in the airplane, because she got more authority than saying, would you like some refreshments? She got more power than you think. So anyway, we're going to move on to this other topic. And this is from a gentleman. As I said, he's a good looking man. I'm like, He's got some advice for the fellas. Now, it was about almost 3 minutes long, so I cut it short because it was kind of like repetitive. But I'm going to show it to you. So let's see here. Oops, no, not that. I keep clicking the wrong buttons. I do that a lot to people. All right, so here we go. Is this it? Okay, here it is. You ready? Here we go.
You know something? You know what's really silly? Being a 50 or 52-year-old player. Think about this now. I'm out with some friends, I haven't seen in a while. And, all they're talking about is how many women they got. And I don't want to say it this way, but I'm going to say it the way they were saying it to me. How many holes they have and how many tricks they have, And I'm looking at all of them and saying to myself, man, you're 52 years old and you concerned about how many women, how many notches you have under your belt? That sounds silly. You look silly. Have you evolved any? I'm like, wow, at our age, we should be talking about, grandchildren, real estate, politics, businesses, vacations with our significant others, We need to become examples in the community. Now, I'm not going to paint myself as the all-American male who's always been faithful. I had my time in the sun, but that's long past now. You should be out of that stage now.
Okay. Donovan.
Interesting. I agree with him. in some of the things that he said, but one of the things that he mistakenly said was community. Black people, we don't have community anymore. And that's a problem. That is a big problem in our diaspora. We don't have community. Very, very limited old school because people are moving on to new things. When my grandfather died a couple months ago, in the area that he lived in, it was like a ghost town because everybody has moved to the newer areas and stuff like that. Now, where I live, as Demetra knows, I'm very well known in the city and I'm very well known in my neighborhood. And everybody knows me. And in my cul-de-sac, I know all my neighbors. You will be in an apartment complex. The person living right next door to you, you don't even know them. You won't even introduce yourself to them. You mind your own business, whatever. So if you don't interact with people that live near you, you don't have a community. So I hear what he's saying, but unfortunately, in most situations, we don't have community. But I agree with them. At 50, I just turned 54 years old. And I tell people all the time, even though you see me in the Dominican Republic and places and doing things, and I got these beautiful women around me and stuff like that, Demetra will tell you, that's not cool. I mean, I say that all the time. I mean, that isn't where I want to be in life. I'm trying to get married and settle down. I'm getting older. I'm breaking down, even though I still look incredibly, anyway, but you know what I mean? And, you know, and Demetra will tell you that I always constantly complain about not finding my significant other because that's what I want. You know, being in these streets and doing all that at my age, that's not cool. That's not cool. And I don't big up that. I tell people, especially brothers, settle down, settle down. That's a young man's game. I've got nephews. That's a young man's game. I should be telling them, okay, don't make the mistakes I did. Do this, treat her right. It's more than a booty, all this stuff. But yeah, he's right. You'll see a lot of these older dudes that are still running around here, you know, trying to big up the game and stuff. And it's just not cool. And then there's nothing worse than when I see guys my age that are going through divorce. And then they're hollering about half of their crap being taken. You want to know why? Because you did the stupid move and had a side chick and got caught. What did you expect was going to happen? What did you expect was going to happen? Because at 50-something years old, she ain't coming up pregnant, to my knowledge. You know what I mean? So again, he's right in that aspect. We should be talking about grandchildren. We should be talking about traveling. We should be talking about all kinds of stuff. I'm just going to say this. Demetra will tell you, my main goal, and I complain about this to Demetra all the time, is about women that I encounter and why I can't match with this person or why I can't do that. And it's not really more so them. It's more so me and my expectations and what I want in a woman. But I am constantly looking for that companion because I'm getting older. It is not cool to be out here on these streets by yourself. I saw a couple of friends of mine that I grew up with. They were just back in Japan, coupled up. And that's another reason when my friends are coupled up, I can't really hang with them because I'm the single guy. Not that I'm a bad guy, but I'm the fifth wheel. That's not cool. It's just not cool. Yeah, I could bring a different chick every time we get together and party, but that's not a good look for me. That is just not a good look for me. And I wish more guys would think more of that. What is your legacy going to be? What is your legacy going to be when people think of you when you're laying in that casket? Oh man, he was such a player and he was, oh man, all you're going to be is a memory, a legend. And what does a legend get you? You're still in the casket. And the same thing to the ladies. Yeah, you were twerking up. Ladies, when you're in your 40s and stuff and you're a grandmother or whatever the deal is that what you want to be remembered for? Oh man, when she was in the club, man, she was backing that ass up, you know, and so on and so forth. We got to think of legacy, you guys. The younger people are looking at us. If we're still acting like we're 16 years old, which is another thing that I have with older men, when you're dressing like 16-year-olds, that's a problem. How do you expect how do you hold younger people to an accountability you don't even hold yourself?
You said a word right there, legacy. What is going to be your legacy? You know, and I think that's profound. And I don't think a lot of people think men and women. I don't think they think about that. Why they good, as my mama would say, good time, Charlie, and you jumping from bed to bed and woman to woman, man to man. What are your grandchildren going to say about you? What are anybody going to say about you? You know what I mean? What mark did you leave on the world? And that doesn't necessarily even have to be money. Like I left 20 houses and car. What did you leave? Like my grandmama, my grandfather, they always this, that, the other. They was just wondering, what are they gonna say about, you know, Papa was a Rolling Stone. You know, that's what they're gonna say about you, you know. So, but to reiterate what he says that his friends, you know, always talking about the holes and the tricks. And he says that they are silly. And he says, when are you gonna evolve? And I want to spin around in this chair because I'm big on evolution, right? I think you will always be evolving until you die. You should be anyway, right? And I'm not saying it's got to be like leaps and bounds. Maybe you're just better tomorrow than you were, you know, yesterday or whatever the case is, right? He also says, what about your grandchildren? He said we should be having grandchildren at this age and talking about real estate, politics, traveling with our boo thing, and setting the example. To your point about the community, I agree. We don't necessarily have a community, and it's because, for his point, you got, you know, some men out there in their 50s that should really be the furiouses of the community, right? And they're trying to teach the younger people. And then you got your grandmamas sitting on the damn plane. Girl, you better get out my face, you know. And so those are the pillars of the community now. The ones that are silly, they ain't got no sense. And I always say that, right? Because I know that it's silly for women to, you know, really to be running around and thotting and, you know, in the club and all that. I think it's silly and it's embarrassing. As I say, one of my favorite quotes is from Mommy Dearest, when Greg Jones, lover, and they've been together for all these years. She's mad at him and he's just like over it at this point. And she's, you always, and he says, you know what, Joan, when you were younger, it was cute. But now you're older, it's pathetic. You're just drunk, right? So it gets to that point. It's like, okay, man, when you was 20 in the 90s, you know, you cross colors at the club. Here you are in your 50s. You still chasing cat. That is so embarrassing to me. You know, and when I hear about men still chasing cat, like you said, and there's a lot of these men that he's talking about, they can't check none of that stuff off the list. None of it. You're still going from pillar to post to, I was going to say something nasty, but you know what I mean. You're going from pillar to post. You ain't got no roots planted nowhere. Your children can't say, oh, my dad is like, y'all hear me talking about my daddy and my mama all the time. Because my mama she's gone RP, a very profound person. I learned a lot of stuff from her, and my father as well. I reference them a lot. And to your point, Donovan, legacy means when you're gone, are you truly seen as an ancestor where people can reference you as, man, I remember my daddy used to say, don't this woman, you know, with the woo, woo, woo. You have wisdom to draw from. Or are they going to say, my daddy wasn't about nothing. He rolling around. Every time we talk to him, he got a new woman, or, you know, he moving here and there. He just ain't got nothing going on in his life. And I would say, I get secondhand embarrassment when I see men in that situation. And I'm not as hard on the women, because one thing about a woman, I don't care what you say. I ain't going to try to be dirty. I ain't going to try to be dirty. You sitting on a gold mine. If you use it right, I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just saying that, right. So women have recourse, if you will, you know what I mean? Oh, Mr. Johnson up the street, he'll give you rent money if you do. I'm just saying. But men.
Wait, I'll cut you off real quick. I'm in a bind, Nate.
Wow.
Remember Set It Off? Jada Pinkett? I'm in a bind, Nate.
And then she, you know, she's scrubbing this old Nate off of her. But so what I'm saying is, for a man, you ain't planted no roots. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Are you looking? Because a lot of times, and I know when I see people who are like that, they're like tumbleweeds is what I see. They're tumbleweeds. You haven't planted roots, because tumbleweeds don't plant roots. They just rolling all over it. Wherever the wind blows, they just rolling everywhere. The other thing is, you're looking for something outside of yourself, right? You get with one woman. Ooh, it's cute. Y'all in that lovey-dovey stage. 2 minutes later, it's like, you put your little hobo sack over your shoulder, and you're out there on the prowl looking for another one, you know. So I 100% agree with them. I think it's embarrassing for men in their 50s to still be acting like they in their 20s.
You know, and here's another thing, and I noticed this with people that have children. I play that extra uncle that's out there, whatever the deal is, and they don't put any demands on their children or any expectations on their children, right? So let's go back to me. I'm going to reference myself. It was really funny. We were doing the show Sunday, and I was in the chat, and somebody was like, asked me, I didn't know you were a mechanic. And I was like, yeah, before I was a pilot, I was an aircraft mechanic, which having the mechanical skills, I can work on a car if I needed to do that and work on my house and do, things like this. But
brother, not to cut you off, you sell yourself short. Not only is he an aircraft mechanic, a car mechanic, a lawnmower, just scooter, this fool would tear down his whole house and build it back up. I've seen him do it. Trust me. So he can do it all.
Yeah. But like you said, yeah, people see me in the DR and doing all the craziness that, you're having fun, whatever I'm doing, right? But I don't want to be remembered for that. That's a small part of what I would leave as a legacy. So when my kids look at me and my nephews and nieces look at me, when I used to travel, I used to send my grandfather postcard, my grandmother, all them postcards, just around the world. Because you remember, you guys had that uncle, back in 47, girl, I remember when I was in Germany. They got these stories, but they never have any proof, right? And it's just a legend. You don't know anything about it. But everybody in my family on both sides know Donovan was that guy. Yeah, he was there. Yeah, he was traveling. Yeah, man, this guy was everywhere. He was doing what he's got to do. And a lot of my friends know that, yeah, Donovan, has issues with his personal life, whatever, with women and stuff like that. But that isn't what I'm known for. I'm known for, damn, he has a lot of education. Damn, the guy, very technical in how he does stuff. That's my legacy. That's what I left. Yeah, they're going to remember the small part of it. But at the end of the day, my legacy is going to be like, yeah, man, uncle was, man, that dude was, he was it. He lived that life, whatever. But the one thing I do not want to be remembered for is my philandering with women. That is the last thing I want my grandkids to remember me for, and all this other stuff. What I want my grandkids, I don't have any yet that I'm aware of, to remember me for is, oh, grandpa and his step grandmother, whatever you want to call it, however it's going to be. That's what I want them to remember. Oh, man, yeah, he was an honorary older guy, but that guy was out there in his garden doing this, doing that, the good stuff. That's what I want. I don't want to remember the bad stuff. I don't want to remember that. My legacy, I want to say, when my kids grow up, my grandkids grow up, they could say, wow, my grandfather was a mechanic and a pilot. My uncle was a jet engine mechanic. I have this example to strive for, not, oh, I could go to the club and get a bunch of women. That isn't hard. I mean, come on, there's women all out here.
Yeah, they're everywhere, and like you always say, you ain't gonna be able to get them all, you can't. But there's some out there that I'm gonna get them all. And it's a sad story because I watched this pastor, right, and his name is, well, I ain't gonna give his name. Y'all probably know who he is. He's a very famous pastor. They call him the cussing pastor. Let's put it that way. He is going through a divorce because allegedly his wife, now he spent like 2 or 3, 4 times on his deathbed in the last couple of years because I guess he has some sort of heart issue, whatever the case is. So every time he would go live, his wife was there, and he won a couple times, said she won't go home. She's here by my side. She slept here all night. So I guess one particular time he handed her his phone, and she saw all that the man is cheating from his deathbed. Cheating from his deathbed at 67 years old is what he is now. So he's going through this divorce, and I watch him, it's like kind of watching as I'm going to sleep or whatever. And last night, as a matter of fact, he was like, I'm tired of eating KFC and eating out all the time. I miss a home-cooked meal. Now his wife, or soon-to-be ex-wife, she cooked all the time for him. She, even when he's on the show, he's like, I'm about to get off because I can smell the fish. I can smell the chicken. She'll come up and tell him what she's cooking. And I'm like, you a fool. You 67 years. Like, who you think is out there finna be doing all that for you? You can't, and this is what I don't think people understand. God ain't gonna keep giving you if that was ordained. I don't know, but God ain't gonna keep sending good people your way for you to keep tricking them off. What makes you think at 67 years old that some good woman gonna flutter down from the sky in her angelic ways and say, hey, I was just waiting for her to get out of your way so I could cook for you. You can use every hole that I have available. And where you think you're gonna find that at 7 years old? You just keep blowing through women and good women and good women. And God ain't gonna keep doing giving. How many good men out there waiting for a good woman? Why do you think, and this not even just to him, but just any man, and not because we're talking about men. What makes you think that you're going to keep being blessed with a good woman and you keep blowing through them like, you know, may pop tires, they may pop? What makes you think you're going to get that? You know, so sometimes we got to learn how to dance with who brought us, you know. And I always tell y'all too, especially you older fellas, and it's not just you, Donovan. I got a whole bunch of other, you know, male friends that are older. They like the younger women and they all find themselves in the same situation. And I'm like, what you got to realize, and I was talking to my daughter about this. I said, you know, I'm going to start me a school for gentlemen and give y'all the game. What you got to realize is when you're talking to a younger woman, you're older, there's still room for her to evolve, right? She's changing, she's learning, she's transitioning, she's having different thought processes because that's the norm, right? That's what they do. But you as an older man, you done already did all that. And at this age, you're probably set in your ways, right? You're that old dog. Not that you're a dog, but you can't teach them new tricks. So what happens is y'all, the old dogs, get with the younger puppies, if you will. And y'all like, you need to do this.
Younger bitches, but go ahead.
Good one. So, but y'all sound like that old chihuahua. Why don't you do this? Because you want her to come up to where you are already. You already been through the evolution process for the most part. And she's like, wait a minute, you old gooter. I ain't there yet. I might still have a little hot girl in me. I'm still, you know, trying to, I like you. I like when you get your social security check and we go to the mall. I like that. But I don't like you trying to glow the dean me right now. I'm a young, hot, pretty young tenderoni right now. I'm speaking of myself too. A young, hot, pretty tenderoni right now. And you trying to make me old before my time. So what I'm going to have you do is pack your little hefty bag, sucker. Get on up the road. Don't forget your extra strength Bengay while you're at it.
So, you know, the funny thing is, you know, you brought that up in regards to older men and younger women. As an older man, I know where the woman is at because, you know, to me, it's detrimental to expect these young women to be on the level where you're at or Glow Dean would be at because she hasn't lived yet. So when I see guys trying to turn these young girls into Glow Dean, that's a recipe for disaster. She's got to be who she's going to be and let her grow at her pace. Now, I have a amiga in the DR. She's fairly young or whatever. And I talk to her all the time. And I tell her, look, I'm not talking at you. I'm just telling you stuff so that it's on record. And you could take it or leave it. But the point is, you've been told, you know, hey, do this, do that. But you got to make, I said, at the end of the day, and I tell her this all the time. At the end of the day, you need to make the best decision for yourself. And when I see these older guys and see, again, I was raised overseas, so I think I'm a little bit more advanced, and I'm a military man, so I'm a little bit more advanced than the average American dude. When you deal with these younger ladies, even if they're in the United States, okay, you're a damn fool if you think that this woman wants to deal with your wrinkled old ass, okay? They don't. I mean, you know, they're with you for a purpose, either security, money, whatever. I mean, you got to put that in your mind. Yeah, there are some cases with, oh, I really love the guy, whatever the deal is. Yeah, right. So with these younger girls, when these guys are trying to turn these girls into what they're not there yet. It's going to take them years. How many years did it take you to get to where you're at? And you expect this young girl who has no experience, how is she going to get this experience? She has to go out there into the world and either fly or fall. Get up from the fall like a phoenix and rise again and whatever. It's called experience. And, you know, that's important. And I'm going to say this to all the mothers out there. I know you love your babies, especially your sons and stuff like that, but you got to kick them out of the nest and see what they're going to do. Because when they're 27 years old and they're still playing PlayStation it's going to be a little too late. That kid is 6'3", 270 pounds. And I think it's a crime when you put that young man out on the street with no skills whatsoever, because you didn't even try to push him out of the nest. Even the birds do that. It's either sink or swim, fly or die. It's as simple as that, right? But when I see these guys with their saggy skin and they think they're going to have a thing with a young lady, you got to be a damn fool to think that that's actually going to happen. But at the same time, I get it. It is very hard to deal with a woman that is your age, that is very experienced, that has learned independence. She's probably been in a bad relationship after being married 20, 15, 20 years, you know, so she has a chip on her shoulder, whatever. It's very difficult. But the idea, though, is, isn't it more ideal to be with somebody closer to your age than is somebody that's significantly younger than you? I would say so. And the point is, I haven't given up to that to that point. I would rather have a woman that is closer to my age than somebody that is younger. The young girls are fun to be with, but in my mind, and I'm speaking for Donovan only, they're for fun. Long term, ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, and just know that, and I'm glad you said that, but because a lot of men they don't say that. They think, oh no, she gonna, she gonna be the Mrs. such and such. It's like, nah, you playing with that girl. But you know what? She know that it's transactional. That's why I said you fellas better have some money, okay? Because she go to Chuck E. Cheese on her own. Be able to spend some Skrilla. Don't be trying to hop up and down on that young girl and she ain't got nothing to show for it. I mean, it's been that way since the beginning of time. You get you a young woman, you got to pay to play, sucker. You're gonna have to come up out your pocket. Don't be going over there with struggling, woe, depression, and dust. Talking about, oh, well, I would, but I can't, and all, because she ain't signed up with, and I've heard some women that were with older men. They were like, I'm with an older man because he experienced, he know what he's doing in the bedroom. I've heard that too. So it's a reason why I've heard that. I've heard some women say that old sucker know what he's doing, I've heard.
But 2 minutes of knowing what you're doing is worth. Go ahead.
Hey, you know what? You got to maximize the 2 minutes, okay? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so usually when a younger woman is with an older man, there's a reason to it. There's those situations where she just really likes. I mean, he's, usually that older man got some swag. He ain't like Rufus. Like, oh, girl.
Right. Like I said, I have a cousin that married a man that's equivalent to her father's age, but he doesn't look it. He's very active. Yeah,
Yeah, some of these pants pulled, they had all up under the, all up
suspenders holding up his pants.
My girl, I sure want to show you a good time. I'm good. Thank you. So yeah, this cases, them dudes usually look pretty good for their age, and the other thing too is, I think we as men and women, we got to be teaching each other something. Okay, I'm not saying you got to sit down with a textbook. Okay, open to page 39. I'm just saying, like, what can I learn from you? What can you learn from me? Because if I'm gonna be with an older man, and listen, you need to be able to show me something, teach me something. I don't want you to. I don't know. Like he said, can you talk about politics? See, that's sexy to me. Can you talk? Can we speak about world affairs? Oh, you don't know about that? Okay, yeah, you might want to go and get with you, little Susie, or somebody like that who y'all could talk about all the stuff that's on TV all day long. I could do that too. I just can't do that only. And I don't want to be with a man that does that only, right? Let's talk about what you think about what's going on up in the White House. How you think Biden and Kamala doing? What you think about Trump coming back into office? What do you think about Merrick Garland, what they're trying to do? You know what I'm saying? You maybe not need to go that far, but if you don't know, can you say, oh, I don't know, honey, what tell me. I ain't know. I'm interested, instead I don't know about all of that. Get my Ben Gay. So I'm just saying, well, yeah. Let's evolve as people. That's my thing. Let's evolve. Always be. And I love that, Donovan. You said, what's your legacy? What will people say about you? My daddy always had a new woman. I don't know. She was, I didn't. He was here. One day he was living there. The next day he was living over there. The next day he had this woman. And then, you know, and then those type of men, they'll say, oh, my kids didn't like my girlfriend. They didn't like her because they knew she wasn't going to be around long, because they knew you was a Rolling Stone. You was a tumbleweed. You're a tumbleweed Negro. You know, you just can't, you can't keep nothing.
Exactly. Or be like The Color Purple. How'd he die? On top of me. And then she gets the money while your kids get whatever house or whatever, your little bike that you have left.
If they got that. Right. Like I said, what you left them is dust and depression. I'm just saying. I'm just saying that that's a big fear of mine. And I don't have a lot of fears. That's a big fear of mine. What are they going to say about me? You know, what are my grandchildren gonna say when, if I have them, right? What are they gonna say about me? What is my daughter gonna say? What's gonna come out of her mouth about her mother? What are my niece and nephews gonna say about their auntie? What's gonna come out of their mouth about me? Man, she was always had them coming in and out like a revolving door. My mama, my grandmama show was had them up in the air like a goalpost. Every time we seen her, she had this your uncle. What's his name today? Ray. You know. I don't want them to say that about her.
Grandma was that happy girl that everybody had.
Right. You know, she was always at the VFW. She opened it up and closed it down every weekend. You know, the old gal is what they call. They call my grandma my old gal.
And real quick, like I said, you know, I'm not like upping myself, but I knew at a young age, because of what the expectations my mother put on me to do stuff while I was young and strong, right? So I'm going to school, I'm working, I've got 2 jobs, I'm educating myself. I did everything when I was young. I'm still playing the field, you know, when I'm young, I'm doing what I got to do. I sometimes question dudes that are my age and older, and they have nothing to show for all of those years that have passed by. It's like, what were you doing during that time? Well, I was in jail for the, hey. Being in jail is no excuse.
Facing the cat.
Right. And being in jail is no excuse, because that's a decision you made, that you knew the job was dangerous when you took it. But what I'm saying is, you know, here you are older, and, you know, you're 50, 60 years old. You don't have, you know, what did you do during your younger years when you should be working hard and striving and building? You mean to tell me, and for 40 years?
Yes, acting like a teenager, acting like, you know, resting on pretty. I'm cute.
Right. You know, and that's what kills me when I see some of my compadres that you're like, okay, well, dude, you're still living in an apartment, but yet you're hollering and screaming at this woman who's, you know, maybe 30 or something, who should live in an apartment about that age, you know, whatever the deal is. But you're 50, 60, and you're living in an apartment that's subsidized or whatever, and you're talking about what she needs to be doing.
Yeah, and like you said, what have you been doing? Just like women get it wrong too. You know, thinking I'm gonna rest on pretty. I'm gonna use what I'm sitting on to get me this, that, and the other. But after a while, that get old. You know what I'm saying? What else you got? All you did was rest on pretty. I don't care what you say. Gravity is going to win. Yeah, you can go get it stretched back, and you're gonna look funny. But gravity is going to win. So what do you have when gravity finally just sucks all the youth out of you? Do you have a mind? Can you be considered an elder in the community? Do you have some, like I said, real estate? Do you have what do you have to show for you leaving your footprint on this planet? And if the answer is, I don't know, nothing. All you got is, like you said, war stories of this chick, that chick, this chick, that chick, this chick, that chick, but you didn't make not one of them your wife. And the other thing too is, what frustrates me a lot of times, Donovan, when y'all see me sitting up here and we talking about men and women, I just really don't say a lot of stuff because it, you know, for me, and I'm one of those women, and I'm a good woman in every sense of the word. I hear men complain about women. And I'm like, but how many good women did you F off? How many good women did you break her heart, you know, threw her to the side for something, raggedy turkey neck heifer? How many good women did you destroy to go hop and chase cat. And now you have nothing to show for it because some of those good women that you were with was trying to build with you, brother. Some of those good women that you was with saw the potential in you. You didn't see it. Some of them said, hey, brother, you leaving money on the table. Let me help you with this, that, and the other, and woo, woo, woo. And you wanted to get in DMs and chase funky cat. That's your legacy. Own it. I mean, I'm just saying. So like I said, when I hear men say that, I'm like, man, how many good women did they chase off? Or just, like I said, discard like yesterday's garbage. And then you see these brothers get it wrong, get left, get it wrong, get left. And it's like, oh, so the grass wasn't greener. And you worse off.
Yeah,
Sucks for you.
Yeah, and I can only speak from my own experience. I'm going to tell you, I was in love with this girl from the time I saw her in high school. And my brother will tell you this story. Even she'll tell you this story. You know, the same thing for the ladies. You guys go out there. And what devastated me about this girl was she ended up getting pregnant for somebody else. And that happens to a lot of guys too. You know, and, you know, the woman you love, whatever deal is. And it happens on both sides of the aisle. We make the wrong decisions. But see, I give that person grace for the simple fact that we were young. She figured it out once she got older. And she and I, we did our military careers together. We're still best friends to this very day. Demetra, no, it's not Demetra. You know what I mean? But the point is, you know, again, you know, even the ladies, you have a good man with you and you go off and trick off or a one-night stand or whatever the deal is. It happens. But the thing is, you're, like you said, you're supposed to evolve and get older. This is what I don't understand about the women. Okay, you messed that one up with the, you know, your high school love or college love or whatever. Have a baby for him. Didn't you? You didn't get married. Now you have a baby for Ray Ray. And then you know, it's like you're supposed to evolve. You're supposed to learn from your mistakes, not keep repeating them. And that is my biggest problem with the women, especially the younger women. With the older women, my biggest problem is, why aren't you guys teaching these younger girls not to make the same mistakes? And that's the issue because we don't have a community. So we're not, oh, no, girl, you know, I must go ahead and take care of the baby. No, you don't need no man. You can do it. Really? How did that work out for you, Auntie so-and-so? I went to my grandfather's funeral and I saw my aunts with no covering of a man. And, you know, Demetra, I want you to think about this because I'm getting a little heated about this. As I'm looking at my aunts that have children, never met any of my cousins' fathers, never met them because they never came around, you know, whatever the deal was. But think about this. How would I have been shaped if my aunts had married their children's fathers or they had got married, period? And I can say, hey, Uncle so-and-so, Uncle so-and-so, Uncle so-and-so. I didn't even have that experience with some of my aunts because it's like, because they didn't get married, not that they have to, but just think how that affects a family's community and dynamics, especially to the young men. If the women aren't getting married, bringing in different aspects of different types of men, that kind of dilutes me as a man to where, what do I want to pursue? I got one uncle that's a auto mechanic. I got one uncle that's in the military. I got one uncle that's a lawyer. I got one uncle that's a doctor. I got one uncle that's a congressman. I got one uncle that's a pimp, whatever. But I have all of that to pull from. And see, and when it comes to ladies and in the Black community in our area, the matriarchy is pushed so hardly. And then we wonder why these young men run around aimlessly because their aunts and their moms are not putting men in their lives. It does, like I said, you've met my Uncle Bennett. That is a substitute father for me, him and my Aunt Winsome. And because of him, I had another alternate route to look at and to go to for advice. So I just wish our women would look at that and say, you know what? I made a mistake here. I'm going to try to change that dynamic. Just like us men, we need to be, hey, stop running from the responsibility. Go to the responsibility.
Yeah, I have a friend, and just hearing you think about that, she had a good man. He was a military man, and, you know, he was deployed, and they had a child, and and she actually had a child, an older son. She had a son when she was 15. She met her husband that was deployed, and they had a daughter. And of course, you know the story. While he was deployed, she tricking. Okay, man, off about to die, off in war. And then he comes home and finds out she's doing that. So obviously he divorces her, and she'd been through a lot, even still to this day. And she always says, "I had a good man." And I always ask her, I'm like, "What made you do it?" Because I know him; he's a good man. I mean, this man is still good to her to this day. She had 2 children by some, and he cool, but you know, he ended up getting on the stuff. So she had the 4 children. Her son, I think he's like 19 now. Daughter is probably 16, 17. And she was struggling because the youngest 2 fathers was, you know, on the stuff. So her ex-husband says, "Send the older 2 to me." Now, mind you, the oldest son is not biologically his, but he raised them as his. So send them to me. I'm going to completely take care of them. Okay. You take care of the 2 because I know it's hard. You know, he off whatever. And she always says to me, "I don't know what was wrong with me, what I would do to be back with him. He was such a good man, never deserved anything that I did. I was just, you know, I don't know, just cheating."
The reach back. It's called the reach back.
Yeah.
And guys do it too. It's called the reach back though. And again, and here's another thing, because he's a military man, you know why he wanted those 2? Since he raised them by themselves, even though that's his stepchild, he can give that child benefits from his military experience, you know, and give that child a leg up. And that's what we're supposed to do as men. We're supposed to have something that the other generation can build on. And we're not doing that as a whole. We're not doing it. We're failing miserable. And again, as much as I complain about the women, at the end of the day, fellas, we're the ones that are responsible because we're supposed to be the leaders.
Yep. So we're going to leave it at that because we have gone over. So Donovan, what you want to talk about later on? Politics. There's a lot to talk about.
Well, you know what? We've been talking about politics and everything like that. Why don't we talk about future endeavors?
Okay.
You know, what is our future if Joe Biden, which is politics kind of, but what is the future if Joe Biden is reelected? You know, I don't want to talk about the recent stuff that's been going on. We've already, everybody knows about that. But the point is, I want to understand if Joe Biden is reelected, what is the Black experience going to be moving forward in another 4 years?
And let's take it a step further. Let's try to do predictions as to what a Joe Biden or Trump presidency looks like.
Let's do that.
What does it look like? Okay, so I'm gonna put that down because I'll be forgetting.
Because nobody's thinking about that. Oh, we'll reelect him, and he promised he'll do this. Well, he promised he would do this in the first term. He has no obligation in the second term, but yet you got Black people that will still sit on that square.
And I don't know if you saw Amber Rose, not that matters, but Amber Rose came out and said she's for Trump, took a picture with him and Melania, and they going in. Talk about, somebody said, "Oh, she got 2 Black sons." And I'm like, oh, y'all just going to gloss over that Joe Biden has been more harmful in the lives of her, probably will be more harmful to her Black sons than Trump has been. But
exactly.
Anyway, we're going to get into that when we come back here. So in the meantime, you guys do watch this, thumbs up, like, all that. And if you want, you can help donate to the channel. Please make sure you go to africandiasporanews.org and invest in that app that we have built just for you, because the more we are over there, the less we have to be over here on these platforms having to watch what we say and do and all that other stuff. But we'll see y'all at 5 p.m. Central Time-ish, give or take.
And don't forget legacy. Think of your legacy.
Come on now, your legacy. What are they going to say about you when they talk about sweet Lord?
The upper room.
Yes. Oh, my mama. They're going to say my mama was, she was old gal. Or, you know what I mean? She had her legs up like the goalposts everywhere. She shut the VFW down. What will they say about your daddy? Was he a tumbleweed Negro? Anyway, we'll talk about it another time. Peace.